talk about the complexities of being a GM in today's league. You guys make moves. You bring guys in. You make trades. It's always moving. You really don't just get to hunker down and say this is our team. What's so different nowadays than say 5-10 years ago?
It's a GM, right? We're always thinking short term, long term. But if we answered that question, you go, when I first got into the league as an entry level, whatever, right? Picking up anyone from the airport that we brought in Jacksonville. And in those days with the Jacksonville Jaguars, it was an expansion team. So it seems like we brought in new people every single week. So that was an interesting job. But free agency had just began then. So, and in those days it was new. So we actually, I remember we got Bryce Pop, we got Leon Searcy, we got really good players from other teams, and they were UFAs and their contract expired and they came to Jacksonville. Then you saw where teams said, you know what, we're going to keep our core players. A little bit harder for pillars of other teams to get the free agency, whether with the franchise tag or with redoing contracts early. I do think the advent of when we went with the new rookie compensation system in the last CBA, where there was a time when teams didn't want to pick early in the draft based on you were picking an unknown player that obviously had potential to develop into a really good player but wasn't there yet, but you were paying that player as one of your probably top 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5th player on your team based on where he was drafted. So I think eliminating that aspect of the compensation for rookies allowed teams more willing to trade for early picks and things like that. So there's a lot of variables like anything. I think as I was sitting backstage, Jerry West mentioned it, right? The games, whether it's basketball, football, soccer, baseball, it's changing and evolving rapidly.
How about how you evaluate in the first round? If you're picking 1 through 10, you look at it a certain way. How about when you're picking on the back end? You have those last 5, 6, 7 picks of the first round. Do you evaluate it do you look at it as first round still, or is it? How do you evaluate it?
I think here's how we do it. I do think there's a subset of players each year, probably depending, and it's all based on when they were born and when they choose to come out of school, whether it's as a redshirt sophomore, true junior, or stay in their senior year. There is this in each draft, whether it's 5, 10, 12. There's a subset of number of players who may be physically just more gifted than the rest. Again, that number changes every year, again, based probably on who was born when and when they decide to come out to school. I do think what we have found, late first, middle of the first, late, somewhere in there, depending on the year in the draft, that if you let your mathematicians and your analysts really, regress analysis and study, those players probably are very similar to players you can get in the second round as well. So in each year it may be 30 guys where pick 20 through 50 or very similar in mom, dad, God-given ability, and all of them are going to be good football players. And then there's a little bit of a cliff, but you're seeing, I would say this, just to sum it all up, late first, second round, even into the third, some good football players come out of those rounds. And that's last year, when we had a first round pick, we may have had 2 or 3 picks in the top 100. Our strategy was, if we could, move back from our late first round pick and keep moving back so that we could end up with maybe 5 picks in the top 100 instead of 2.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download The Rich Eisen Show app.